Hello learners, today we are going to talk about the chapter Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela. So this chapter is an extract from the book Long Walk to Freedom, that is an autobiography of Nelson Mandela. Okay, so let's talk about Nelson Mandela. Okay, so let's talk about Nelson Mandela. He was born on 18 July 1918 and he died on 5 December 2013. He was a South African anti-apartheid revolutionary, political leader and a philanthropist who served as President of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. He was the country's first black head of state and the first elected in a fully representative democratic election. His government focused on dismantling the legacy of apartheid by tackling institutionalized racism and fostering racial reconciliation. Ideologically an African nationalist and socialist, he served as the president of the African National Congress Party from 1991 to 1997. Okay, so before we go into the chapter, let's understand the word apartheid. Apartheid was a political and social system in South Africa during the era of white minority rule. It enforced racial discrimination against non-whites, mainly focused on skin color and facial features. This existed in the 20th century from 1948 until the early 1990s. So you can see, children, it is so recent and recently it was eradicated, and we must respect the hard work of people who opposed this kind of social injustice. Okay, so now let's talk about the chapter. Let's get into the chapter now. So this is the second chapter of your book, The First Flight. In the beginning, you will see there is the meaning of apartheid which has been given here, and then the chapter starts with the extract from a BBC News report that was recorded on 10th May 1994. Mandela becomes the South Africa's first black president. Okay, so here we find that Nelson Mandela has become South Africa's first black president after more than 3 centuries of white rule. Mr. Mandela's African National Congress ANC party won 252 of the 400 seats in the first democratic elections of South Africa's history. The inauguration ceremony took place in the Union Buildings Amphitheatre in Pretoria today, attended by politicians and dignitaries from more than 140 countries around the world. Never, never again will this beautiful land experience the oppression of one by another, said Nelson Mandela in his address. Jubilant scenes on the streets of Pretoria followed ceremony with blacks, whites and colored celebrating together. More than 1 lakh South African men, women and children of all races sang and danced with joy. So, after that we have the chapter here. In the beginning, Nelson Mandela talks about the inauguration. So, this extract has been taken from the point where he talks about 10th May 1994 and he talks about the inauguration. Okay, so here in the first, second and third paragraph, he talks about how the inauguration took place, who were the people who attended the inauguration, and he refers to them as a rainbow gathering of different colors and nations of for the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. So the description of that gathering is very beautiful. He has used the metaphor of rainbow to discuss and describe the gathering. Later he talks about other people who were present at that place at that time. So Jenani, his daughter, was present. Mr. de Klerk, he was present. He was the second deputy president and he was also very much instrumental in the eradication of apartheid. Later he quotes his speech from that day, okay, the speech that he delivered. And this is the speech. Let me read out the speech. Today, all of us do, by our presence here, confer glory and hope to newborn liberty. Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long, must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. Okay, so the extraordinary human disaster, this expression has been used for apartheid. We who were outlaws not so long ago have today been given the rare privilege to be host to the nations of the world on our own soil. We thank all of our distinguished international guests for having come to take possession with people of our country of what is after all a common victory for justice, for peace, for human dignity. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. Never, never, and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Let freedom reign. God bless Africa. Okay, so you can see the determination in his words. He has used shall with third person. It only signifies the determination and his surety and his faith in the freedom that he has gained. In the next paragraphs, he talks about the military, how the military shows its loyalty to the constitution, to the democracy by, in a very disciplined manner, they have exhibited their parade, the helicopters, the South African jets, helicopters and troops carriers roared in perfect formation over the Union buildings. So this is the show of loyalty from the military force. He also remembers and says that I was not unmindful of the fact that not so many years before they would not have saluted but arrested me. So now the times have changed, and now people who would have arrested him earlier in the reign of apartheid system, now they are saluting him. Okay, he talks about two national anthems and the symbolic significance of the two national anthems that were played on that day. One was the old national anthem and the other one was the new. It shows that both sides of people, the blacks and the whites, they have now accepted each other and they have now decided to be respectful of each other. Okay, now he talks about history and his predecessors who also and remembers their contribution towards the government and towards the victory of justice. Okay, he remembers his predecessors and their role, and he takes some names like Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, etc., and how these people have contributed to the victory. And he is not ungrateful to them. He is very, very grateful to their for their contribution. You can see that he has used these names, these proper nouns, Oliver Tambo for example, in plural, because he wants to say that all these people and all of them who were like them but whose name he cannot remember, but all of these people who were one of a kind, who were like one kind of people who actually worked for the government, for the freedom of people and for justice, he remembers them all. They were men of such extraordinary courage, wisdom and generosity that their like may never be born again or known again. He talks, and later he talks about the human resources, and he says that oppression often creates depths of character. Okay, and then he refers to his people and says that the greatest wealth is the people of Africa, finer and truer than the purest diamonds. Next, he refers to the essential humanity in all humans. He remembers his days in prison and says that some of the gods would show a glimmer of humanity, okay, and that was enough for him to restore his faith in the humanity. Later he talks about his twin obligations. One obligation is to the family, to the parents, to his wife and children, and the other one towards his country. In a normal society, in a civil society where people are living in freedom and democracy, there is no problem in fulfilling these two obligations. A person can be a police inspector and also a good family man. But in a society like South Africa, which was suffering from injustice and social systems like apartheid, it was not a very simple thing. A person who wanted to work for the country, work for the freedom, that person could not fulfill one of his obligations, that was towards his family. And Nelson Mandela says that in South Africa, a man who tried to fulfill his duty to his people was inevitably ripped from his family and his home and was forced to live a life apart, a twilight existence of secrecy and rebellion, because obviously they were considered outlaws and the police was always after them. I did not in the beginning choose to place my people above my family, but in attempting to serve my people, I found that I was prevented from fulfilling my obligations as a son, a brother, a father, and a husband. Okay, now he talks about two kinds of freedom. I was not born with the hunger to be free. I was born free. Free in every way that I could know. When he was a child, he was free to run, free to swim in the clean stream that ran through his village, free to roast mealies under stars and ride the broad backs of slow-moving bulls. But as he grew older, as he began, he learned that his freedom was an illusion. And then he discovered as a young man that my freedom had already been taken from me, because he was born in a black family, that I began to hunger for it, and later he began to hunger for it. At first, as a student, I wanted freedom for myself. I'm quoting his words here, reading it out from the book. The transitory freedoms of being able to stay out at night, read what I pleased and go where I choose. Later, as a young man in Johannesburg, I yearned for the basic and honorable freedoms of achieving my potential, of earning my keep, of marrying and having a family, and the freedom not to be obstructed in a lawful life. And that was not possible because there were many restrictions on black people. But then I slowly saw that not only was I not free, but my brothers and sisters were not free. I saw that it was not just my freedom that was curtailed, but the freedom of everyone who looked like I did. That is when I joined the African National Congress, and that is when the hunger for my own freedom became the greater hunger for freedom of my people. Okay, so he understands, he realizes that his individual freedom is not enough. He should be free as a people, he should be free as a society, he should be free as a black person, and every black person should be free as everyone is free. And that's where he joined the African National Congress and worked towards his freedom. Okay, and you can read his how he becomes a so-called criminal instead of a law-abiding attorney. From a loving husband, he become a man without home, etc. Okay, at the end, he says that the oppressor is also a victim. He realizes he has sympathy for the oppressor too. I'm reading it out from the book. I knew that the oppressor must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. A man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. I am not truly free if I'm taking away someone else's freedom, just as surely as I am not free when my freedom is taken from me. The oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity. So now here is a summary of the chapter, or we can say the chapter highlights that are there. Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. So Nelson Mandela talks about the inauguration. He quotes his speech that he delivered on 10th May 1994. Next, he talks about the military that pledged their loyalty to the democracy. After that, he talks about the symbolic significance of two national anthems sung on that day. He remembers his predecessors and their contribution in the struggle for freedom. He talks about the meaning of courage and the heights of character. He says that the human resource of the nation is the real wealth of the nation. Next, he refers to the essential humanity that is present in every person. He talks about the twin obligations of a person, one to her family and other to her society and nation. He talks about two kinds of freedom that are corresponding to the twin obligations. He realizes that the oppressor is as much a victim as the oppressed. The oppressor is a prisoner of hatred. I would like to quote one sentence from the extract. The oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity. Okay, so in this manner we have completed the chapter. Go through it and read it properly and try to understand the chapter and analyze it in some other ways also. Okay, bye bye.